Hi everyone, welcome to the very first episode of the Unstoppable series. I am Chahat and I'm truly thrilled to embark on this journey of inspiration, resilience, and empowerment with all of you. Our mission here is to celebrate the indomitable spirit of young individuals who faced challenges head on and emerged stronger, proving that every hurdle is an opportunity to rise. In the Unstoppable series, we'll be bringing you real stories from real people who refuse to let their disabilities define them. These are stories of courage, determination, and unwavering positivity. We hope that these conversations not only touch your hearts, but also challenge your perceptions and ignite a drive for change. Now, today is Independence Day. So, Independence Day greetings to all of you. We've come a really long way as a nation. But when we think of inclusion for those with disabilities, I feel we still have a really long way to go. And since this is our first episode, I really wanted to share why we started this in the first place. So, you see, over the years, I've realized that each individual has a unique story to tell and a unique path that they have navigated in their respective lives. So, I also understand that a lot of good work is being done in the disability space in India and across the world, but there is still some sort of a gap that exists, which is what we are here to bridge through the conversations. Our objective is to simply bring out real people, their real time stories, the challenges that they've faced, so that we can hear from them directly in an absolutely unfiltered manner. What exactly is it that we aren't doing correctly, and what are certain things, what are certain areas that we can improve in terms of making India all the more inclusive? So, that being said, today we are honored to have with us Mr. Sushanth Gajula, a remarkable individual who's shattering stereotypes and reaching new heights. Thank you so much, Sushant, for joining us on this very first inaugural episode of the Unstoppable series. Also, to all our viewers, Sushant is one of the first people I had discussed this idea with, and he was extremely kind to support it. And thank you so much for being a part of it, Sushant. Over to you. I'd really like you to please introduce yourself to everybody out here.
Thank you. Everyone. This is Sushanth Gajula. I'm a fifth year law student at WBNUJS Kolkata, a visually challenged by birth. I hail from Hyderabad and I have studied in a like disabled specific school in Hyderabad from my first standard to 12th standard. Then I got admitted into NUJS through CLAT, and so it's the journey has been like NUJ's journey has been like a roller coaster ride for me with coming in terms with your PWD status and like navigating your social space and traversing various paths, hurdles to achieve or to be yourself in college.
Thank you so much for introducing yourself, Sushant. I understand that it takes a lot of courage and a lot of self belief to be able to completely, be okay with your story and realizing that, I mean, I realize that you are somebody who has shown like exceptional and unwavering courage in times of difficulties, and it's not always easy. So my question to you would be, so you said that you're pursuing law. So my first question to you is, what in the first place nudged you and motivated you to pursue law in the first place, and what are your career aspirations in general?
So my first so this is like a general question which I have faced in my life since like a lot of time since past 4 years, like being in law school. Like people ask me why I chose law. So the idea of law, see, like I entered law because I was drawn to politics, I was drawn to policy, but I was not understanding how to go there. And I used to watch a lot of news in television, all those things. At that time, I always used to understand, like I always watched I never heard a PWD politician speaking. I never heard a PW journalist. I never watched PW films which are for PWD. I never heard about an author who is a disabled. I never heard about stories of PWD people. And like when it comes to other aspiration, like I had like, a lot of friends who played cricket and all those things. For cricket, they have won international tournaments as well, but they weren't treated as equivalent to able-bodied cricket players who gets crores. They don't even get lakhs. They are paid in bits and substance like in thousands. So my thing is like you are like you understand at a point of time what you have to do in your life. That was the revealing time. Like I was contemplating what to do, and my always aspiration has been like, see, I have to be remembered, and I have to do something to the community which I belong to. See, for me, I am not an individual, Sushanth Gajula. I represent PWD community. So this community interest and larger political aspirations for me to go into politics in future date where I can really impact the policy to create inclusive policies for PWD students has been the main driving force behind me taking up law.
No, that's wonderful. I'm so glad that you brought out, certain uh, realities of our society, which I think everybody out here would agree with me on that the representation is there, but it's still less. It's not as much as it should be, right? In every career that you see, like be it the arts or politics or policy space. So I'm pretty sure that there are a lot of people like you who are extremely motivated and who are interested in navigating the policy and the political space. And I'm pretty sure that given your legal background, you are somebody who is equipped with the right skills and the tools to even pursue that sort of a career. So kudos to you for even thinking about it. And I'm pretty sure, and I really hope and wish you the best for it. Your aspirations have fueled your determination to prove that disability doesn't hinder any sort of ambition. But I'm sure that in your day-to-day life, especially as a student in a college in such a prestigious university, that to a law school, you must have unfortunately there could have been times where you would have felt that, okay, the people around me or my batchmates do not understand me, or they do not have the right approach to dealing with people with disabilities, right? So what is your take on that? How do you think that situation is like in India? And how can we actually bridge that gap, because you're coming from a student community. So would love to hear your thoughts on this.
So, Chahat, answering your question, there are two parts to your question. So, first, concerning like what are the problems that I have faced academically in college, and how I have overcome with the institution help, and how we are still figuring out the ways. And like there is another part like where nothing can't be done with policies, legislations. Like it's with the people and the mindset. So I'll be addressing both of them. So firstly speaking academically, see, for you, in the first very few classes, I was given a library orientation. So generally we were like our college has a huge library, and especially when you have a lot of books, the organization of books are meticulously planned. So every student must know, like if he is searching for a book, he must know like where to search for it. So for that they conduct a library orientation. So you can understand, for me, I'm roaming around the library orientation, any physical books which are like Greek and Latin for me. Like it's like I'm moving in an uncharted territory where everything is inedible, inhabitable. It has been like that. For example, you get when you go up, you might have uh, like some faculty not willing to change their teaching methodology or pedagogy for you, or You might like I have personally faced a lot of problems regarding academic issues, like not being able to read books, and the major problem comes with research. So a lot of websites which are currently available are inaccessible for PWD students, and especially I belong to a certain type of PWD students which where the learning methodology itself is different. So for example, a person who has a locomotor disability, person who has an upper body disability or a lower body disability, their disability doesn't make them to change the teaching methodology that they learning methodology that they are going through. Like it's the same script. But for me, since I'm a visually challenged, the very essence of vision is not there through which I can process things. So that is lost. Since that is lost, I have to rely on my ears. Like through screen reader softwares, I have to read books, navigate softwares, do research. So in firstly to get adapted to that, even after using it for like even after having the habit of using it in my school stage, like you are using it for 24 by 7, that have serious implications on your health per se. Like you'll have a lot of headache issues because you are subjected to use earphones or headphones every time, and you are expected to do research by hearing to the software, and those things are there. And other things, the books you like, it's like every time you go to library it feels that you don't belong to that place. Once you feel that you don't belong to university at all, you feel that there's some slight discontent. And other thing is with teaching methodology, you have to go meet professors and explain them that you are visually challenged. And my professors have been like lot good in granting me like extensions, like reasonably accommodating me. A lot of professors have like since like 3 years have been helping me facilitate with college. And the third aspect which comes like is your accessing of cultural physical accessibility of campus. Like you have our college is now turning into accessibility more, like we have braille plates. So there are campuses where you don't have braille plates, you can't distinguish between a men's washroom and a women's washroom. They only have pictures, they don't have any signboards in braille which directs us, or they don't have anything like. So god, who on earth knows that whether I'm going into a male washroom or female washroom? And those are the things. And secondly, speaking about the people and the culture among like general people, we see all the able-bodied people, their education regarding disability from their childhood has been like, you have to care for disables, you have to help them. Like they are the objects for you to help, and you have to care. So they are not like your equals, they are not humans, they are like for you to help. So this has some way transformed into our ideas and our ideology looking at disability for a long time, even for the students, like till a long time. But because of my emphasis, like a lot of students have changed in our college. But initially it used to be like, whenever I and other PW friends used to go for a walk, people used to come and help us unwantedly, even though when we are not willing to be helped. Like matlab that they coming to you, infringing your personal space. Sorry, that factor is always there. And a lot of difficulty comes when you are involved in committees, extracurricular activities in college. Those spaces are extremely dominated by able-bodied people. One thing is that, and they are designed in a way to advantage able-bodied people. Like for example, the process of moot, which requires extensive research. like in some way I feel that that extensive research part is good, but it also comes with a caveat that I can't indulge in extensive research because of my disability, because I have to hear to long time. And one more thing, they have this formatting issue, footnotes formatting. Like, how does it, bro? It doesn't it doesn't matter for me formatting of a document. If I write something, I don't want it to format to look it good. For me content matters, but for me formatting doesn't matter. But sadly some extracurricular requires formatting, even some projects requires formatting, basic formatting. But even when you are learning that basic formatting, it feels that you are learning something which is very redundant to your identity. And after doing extracurriculars, we have committees and other activities in colleges, like wherein you have a lot of committees which organizes a lot of things in colleges. So either you'll get, when you go for interviews, either you'll have the question like, how can you, like you being a disabled, how can you serve us, how, what specialty can you bring us? So like I did not have an answer, but nonetheless I got into few committees. But the problem started then. I was just treated as any other table or chair in the room, in the being part in the committee, invited to meetings. But I was never given some work, a respectable, like respectable or I was never given a given work, which has infuriated me and which has led me to resign from committees. The only committee which has like given me proper work and has like the spirit of inclusivity is like legal aid society in our college. Like with them, I have been a part of them for a year, and I have, with LAs I have done work like field visits, like a clinic camp. So these are the very inclusive committee. And so my comparison of this is, times haven't been the same. It is changing, but it is changing at a very slow pace. And thirdly, when it comes to sports, you have a very like everyone plays sports. And when I first came to college, I came with an objective that I will break all the barriers in college of disability. So I got blind cricket balls with me. I dragged other PWD friends of my batch, and we started playing blind cricket on our ground, inviting our friends. We even blindfolded our friends and played blind cricket. So that is the initiative which I have taken. But there are lack of sports equipments. So if that is there in like NLUs, that would be like farther there in other educational institutions, right? Which are not as well as like prestigious and NLUs. And lastly, you have to educate also your working non-teaching staff. So that is a very risky proposition, because like you are not dealing with youngsters who are willing to change. You are dealing with some people who have been adopted to a specific ideology for over a time, and you are changing them. So the only change that we would have been able to reach in our college is like uh, they helping us to serve food, they helping they being us more attentive towards our needs. Rather than that, I don't expect that they have to learn, they have to they can, like they can evolve in their thought process, because of one, because of their age and because of our limited interactions. Because we spend most of our time in college classes, we have less interaction with teaching and non-teaching staff. So, and the last thing is like the last and the very important thing is like the social space when it comes to talking to your friends and what's up. Like when you talk to your friends, uh, it feels very exclude. At times, you feel very excluded when they talk about images, when they talk about memes, because memes के लिए for understanding memes, you need some aspect of vision. You need to understand the picture and then coordinate with the caption. So that understanding gap is there. At the same time, you can't put an undue burden that don't discuss memes or anything with us. There are few of my friends who are extremely accommodative. One of my friend, uh, who, who is my best friend, he's very much extremely accommodative. Like I just hang around with 4 to 5 people. I started hanging around with large crowds in my first year, but till my fifth year it reduced to 4 to 5 people. And so so navigating social space, and this is the time when everyone in college are discussing about dating scenes, girlfriend, boyfriend, like all this Gen Z, like not Gen Z or anything, all these natural things which are yet to happen. So I feel like dating apps per se are like not very accessible. I haven't tried, but I heard from various people who have tried. Like a lot of dating apps are not accessible. So for these type of things, like in NLUs where it is an elite space, your social circles a lot depends on your spending power. I don't spend a lot of money, so that automatically reduces you of a lot of cut social cut in your social space. And I feel privileged enough because I am visually challenged. I don't have any locomotor problems, or I don't have any other problems. Like if you are communicating with me, it's like the same language we speak, the same mode. But I really don't know how our college will be able to accommodate the needs of a hard of hearing person, because he requires a sign language friends. Like if you have one such person as your friend and you are in a group, so does it like, how do you inspire your friends to learn sign language and communicate with him? Or if I was a wheelchair user, would my friends still treat me as same, like take me to smokes, take me to parties, clubs, pubs? So these are all the questions only the stakeholders can answer. But I, as a disabled person, has always these questions. Lot of this you require awareness spreading. So the social aspects which I have talked Abhita, for this legislations are like not really working per se. You need social awareness. You need awareness which says that, bro, I might be disabled, but I'm not less than a human. I have human emotions. I can process everything. I'm equally capable. I'm equally capable of love, deserving, worthy of anything on this earth. So you just have to have that awareness. For the initial part about academics, yeah, there have been legislations which guaranteed inclusivity. That comes with like inclusion, and like academics is a place where a lot of able-bodied people are also involved, and they have taken up, and disabled, a lot of disables are also taking up, and it will definitely get changed in next 5 to 10 years. The scene would definitely get way better in next 5 to 10 years. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Sushant. I mean, I'm truly inspired. At the same time, I'm also, um, you know, a little upset to hear, the different challenges that you've faced and encountered at every step of the way. Yet, I appreciate your grit, your self belief that, you've learned to navigate a world that sometimes lacks understanding. You've mentioned so many things, right, from accessibility in an educational institution as prestigious as an NLU. And you've also highlighted that when a prestigious institution of that stature also lacks inclusion and lacks the resources and the right sort of orientation amongst their non-teaching staff and things like that, then we can only imagine the situation with other tier 2 tier 3 colleges and universities in India. Apart from that, you also highlighted that how people are not really oriented enough to connect with or be friends with somebody who has a disability, right? Now, why I can say this is because I have dealt with it, personally. I know people who have suffered on an emotional level. They've been emotionally traumatized, they've been bullied, they've been harassed in schools and colleges because people are just not ready to accept them the way they are, which is a very unfortunate reality of our times. And that's exactly why conversations like these are important. Now I understand that in today's time people value content so much. They are always looking forward to some crazy fancy groundbreaking content, very very visually appealing content, and that's exactly how Instagram is taking over the entire social media space. YouTube is growing immensely. But that's not why we are here for. We're not here to produce like groundbreaking content or anything of that sort. We're here to produce, rather, we're here to convey messages that need to be conveyed. And conversations like these, when we hear real stories, all the instances that you've mentioned, all the experiences that you've had on a personal level, all these things cannot be conveyed via datas or data sets or surveys or questionnaires or otherwise, the routine things that we do. These things come out only when we truly engage in conversations like these, right? Which is exactly why we are doing what we're trying to do. And I am so grateful to you that you supported this idea in the first place, and you agreed to be the first speaker in the series, because you're really setting like a benchmark for all the upcoming episodes and for other people out there, because I for a fact know that not everybody has had a chance to speak, right? So we often talk about disability inclusion on different levels. I know so many people who are doing great work in terms of like making policies for people with disabilities, working on revising certain policies and making spaces more inclusive in whatever capacity that they can. But still, we haven't been able to reach to every last person in the country. That's exactly why this platform has come into place, because we hear stories, only those stories are heard which are brought out via the media or the social media, right? Stories of like success or some groundbreaking thing that somebody somewhere has done. But the stories that also need to be heard are the ones like you just happen to share with everybody, right? So these are the real stories that actually need to be brought out. And I mean, I'm so glad that you've shared so many insights about your own personal journey and the caveats and the difficulties that you faced so far. I also understand that it wouldn't have been easy to sort of make friends, right? And while you're already struggling, somebody who has an impairment, you're already struggling with so much. You already have so much on your plate to cope up with, and yet you are expected to sort of also go the extra mile and put in efforts to make friends, right? To forge friendships. So how has that been for you? Like, can you also please share certain insights around what exactly has been the narrative that people share, and how do people actually think about being friends with you, right? And how are your friends like? And if you can just share like some thoughts on that.
So regarding you going extra mile and making friends. See, the point has been like education is like just like 8 hours of your day. Other 16 hours you are living with the society. And for me, I was till 12th standard. I stayed with my family. So I used to do day scholarship with my college and my school. And I came from a PWD school, so it was not an issue for me to make friends over there. Like the bonds just forged, and since I was in my from my first standard, I had a lot of time to experiment various things, and the bonds forged. But the real like away from my family, first time hostler, and there are few things like which I know, and at the same time there are few things which I don't know. I used to be a very scary person. I used to get scared of talking to a lot of people. So initially, I was like an asocial. Like to be like to put in words, I was like a material thing in like room. I was just I was just assuming myself to be like that because we PWD students, like personally speaking, visually challenged. See, I can't read the expressions on your face. I don't know when you are getting uncomfortable with my conversation. I don't know whether you are enjoying spending time with me or not. So this has been one point which has like led me to a lot of problems in making friends. So initially, I used to in a college which goes to which rises in the night and have a lot of studies in the night and functions. Like you have social life all through your day. In a college like that, I used to sleep like a child at 10:30 and wake up at 5:30, and like things used to be like I am not saying this is bad per se. I'm saying like this was very unlikely of me because I was the most popular student in my school. I was like I conducted even a public speaking soft skills training for ninth and 10th students, like a teacherless program wherein students are taught have to make themselves comfortable in speaking English. Not an emphasis on grammar, but an emphasis on confidence. So I have been that guy like who is outgoing, speaking, and I used to be a good student from my class one. So I used to be very popular among students, like right from first standard to 10th standard, everyone knew me. I used to be very popular among teachers. I used to like my conversations used to be I used to just go and sit in staff room and have conversations with casual conversations with my teachers. From that point you came to a point where everything is new world for you and you are scared, like at a point I was scared. So abhi tak there hasn't been any professor or anything whom I can like go and chat casually. Like there are professors whom there is one professor whom I go and take my career advice often. She's my jurisprudence ka professor Somaba. So there's professors like that. But initially, I got to know her in my fourth year. So initially, it was a struggle. Like after 1 week of classes, I just decided to go back to home, just cry, because like I felt like fish out of water. I couldn't make friends because I was scared. Like, what if I make them uncomfortable? Uncomfortable. What if they don't enjoy my company? I just had these barriers. So, like after giving a lot of thought, I talked with some of my professors to accommodate me in the class. Surprisingly, they everyone reacted positively, which boosted up my confidence. And after 1 or 1.5 month of my first semester, I got back to my zone, making friends. I made a lot of friends, but the problem came in that you there is a assumption which goes in NLUs or in colleges that PWD students are PWD students. They are pitiable objects, and they are not entitled to have any political ideologies. Like I used to be a anti-caste believer. I used to believe in a lot of political ideologies, which used to conflict with a lot of friends. And they used to maybe like whenever they used to have conversations regarding political ideology, whenever I used to talk, they used to stop talking. They used to end the conversation because they thought that we should not make this person feel offended. at the end of the day, because he's PWD. What does he know? He's speaking from whatever limited knowledge he has. So that was the thing, and that's one of the problem. Like that's why I moved away from a lot of friends, and there are less avenues for you to bind with your people in NLUs. Like for example, like a lot of people bind on the spending though it's out of the box. A lot of people smile at each other by merely looking at. Like a lot of people like wave hi at me without saying. I can't wave back. I don't even know whether they said hi because like I can't see. So they'll think that I am very arrogant. That may lead to bad feelings on me. Or a lot of people smile at looking at your face if you are familiar. I can't identify that. So these struggles have been there, especially when I'm trying to mingle up with spaces. Like a lot of when it comes to some discussions made me uncomfortable. But so fortunately, I ended up with a nice bunch of people. Like there's one of my friend called Sushanth Patnaik, whom I ended up, and he's a nice bunch of person. Like I like hang around with him. He's very inclusive. So when we just played Uno last night. It's like so Uno mein you have cards ke upar numbers and everything. So when we were playing in group, all the group members used to have this small inclusive thing. They used to say what card they are putting in, like what color, what number. So that's how the game was made easier to me. It's just the simpler things that makes a lot of difference. You feel included. So I ended up with a nice bunch of people, but initially the struggle was there, like smiling at people, waving at people, and they and you make a lot of friends for going out, like by going out. So for me, like I went out with them, but there are like there were a bunch of people whom I went with museum. I couldn't museum mein what will I do? I can't look at details of artifacts. I can't look at things like it's like a very boring thing. So these are the places how you forge your relations, right? It's not that if you are not going you don't have friends. You will have friends, but you don't have that bond. You don't share that bond. So these are few things. Over to you,
Right.
Chan.
Right, right. Thank you, Sushant, for sharing. And I do realize that you've had your fair share of challenges, but I'm also glad you pointed out how there are certain little acts that your friends did. For instance, while you were playing Uno and things like that. So obviously, like these little acts, these gestures go a really long way in making somebody feel included, and also making them included in the mainstream, right? So, I mean, I think with this, we've reached almost the end of our conversation. I simply just want to bring out an important note, an important message to all our viewers that, I want to tell others facing similar challenges that, your dreams are valid. There might be hurdles every step of the way, but each obstacle is an opportunity to learn, to grow, to develop yourself, and to also inspire others. It's simply about carving your own path and proving that your abilities define you and your disabilities don't. That being said, it's also the onus also lies on us as a society to ensure that every little thing that is possible, as much as it's possible, we must try to make social spaces all the more equitable and inclusive, in terms of um, whether it's making the institutions accessible, whether it's anything else, right? Everything has to be, I mean, it's the little things that we do that matter, right? And that's how we can ensure that we don't end up making we don't end up leaving anybody behind, right? So that being said, Sushant, I'd invite you to convey a little message that you may have for the audience. Anything that you would want to convey to everybody, just a short message. Over to you.
Uh, I have final words firstly, a big thanks to Chahat for having this idea. So when she first approached, I was like blown because like I was planning in my life. My life is dedicated to disability, so I'm like carving my career in disability. So I was blown and like, so this is what able-bodied responsibility has to be to make societies inclusive for people, persons with disability. And these small steps, we are just bringing out the stories. We are doing anything which is termed as great in the perspective of society, the perspective of society in which we are living. We are just trying to bring out the stories. So I just congratulate Chad for coming up with this idea, and like I feel honored also to be part of their group. I've also worked with on this, and finally, if I just want to tell our audience what they can expect from this on your allow me.
Yes, yes, please, Sushant, please go ahead.
Yeah. So so when we were ideating this in unstoppable, so our aim has been like to bring out the stories of stakeholders, pwd stories, and not only those stories which we hear on internet, or people who are successful, like per se, like who are like doing well in policy, who are doing well with their career. See, success is something which happens to 1 in 100. But what about other 99 people? They all, like, success is like this. You reach, go beyond a line. But what about those people who reached till line? Aren't they successful? They are also successful in their own way. There is nothing called failure in this world. So everyone is successful, and we are trying to bring those 99 success stories through this initiative. And what we aim also through this is to create a mentorship base of a database of mentors. Like you can also enroll, like soon we'll be releasing like a procedure how you can get enrolled, and Chat will be right person to clarify on that. So any PWD student or any non able-bodied student who are willing to help PWD students, and PWD students who are willing to help each other, mentor them in their career trajectory. Because like I am privileged enough to have people around me who are guiding my career trajectory. But I also feel that there are people who doesn't have a lot of privilege, because I, at the end of the day, I come from Hyderabad, a tier one city. I study in a tier one law school, and I have such beautiful batch of friends, a good professor to, uh, and a good group of friends who are like taking initiatives. So this may not be available to everyone. So through this initiative, we want to bridge that gap. We want to prepare that mentorship database through which you can collect to various PWD students, and you can guide them, whereas PWD students can also guide it is like a mutual enhancement. Like you all develop in everyone's development. You all bloom and blossom in everyone's development, as said by DYC in Vikas Kumar versus UPSC judgment, which is like a stalwart for reasonable accommodation judgment. And finally, I'm going to say one thing. See, legislations, policies have like reached only 10% of the people who are literate and who are able to understand. There are a lot of educated, illiterate people for whom you have to reach through awareness and through understanding. So I hope a lot of people after watching this will join us in this embarking of journey, and let's make this happen. Let's create that education to people, and let's make our world inclusive for PWD students. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Sushant. Your words were truly inspiring, and I would just like to add to what you just said about taking action. So, to all our audience, this is a message to you. So, at the end of each video, in the description, you will find the links to two Google Forms. One would be for those who are young people with disabilities. So you can fill out that form and you can be a part of our growing community, wherein we'll try to pair you with opportunities exclusively meant for you. And it's basically it's basically to foster, like, a good networking space. And the other form is going to be for all our supporters out there. So if you're somebody who is an individual, or you are an activist, or you're also a fellow student who just wishes to contribute to disability inclusion in India, please feel free to fill out that form and fill out the relevant details, so that we can together do something meaningful. We can sort of pair you with the pool of students in our community, and you can maybe who knows, you might be a good mentor to one of them, right? And you can contribute to their growth and development. So that is the whole idea. And if there are any doubts, please feel free to reach out to me. Both the forms are Please stay connected, stay inspired, and remember, together we're unlocking possibilities, one conversation at a time. Until next time, stay strong and stay unstoppable. Thank you.
Thank you.